So next topic is the split keyboard, which you literally, according to your description, just kind of rip apart on the iPad.
You do. It's one of those typical Apple, lovely feel to it, if you like. And rip is an exaggeration. I mean, you just basically take a couple of fingers and just pull it apart, and it's split. And if you want to put it back together, it's the same. You just take a couple fingers and push it back together.
Is there an animation for all that, or is it just
Not really. No,
no?
it just and I'm not sure that an animation would be this way. It feels just very natural and very quick.
Right. An
An
animation might
animation,
slow it down.
yeah, would almost feel like too much.
Okay. And so how is it actually? I mean, because an iPad, it's light, but it's also not so light that you want to keep holding it up in the same way that you'd hold a BlackBerry or something like that. So how is, what's your use case for a split keyboard?
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's not a BlackBerry. You're not going to maybe want to spend, 5 minutes holding it on a street corner or whatever outside a restaurant and texting away or whatever. But having said that, there are occasions where I know for me, like when you're taking notes on something, where you do end up wanting to, you may be standing up or you may just be sitting up on a couch or in whatever position where I'm still finding it a handy feature, I guess is what I'm getting to. I don't find it very handy when I'm sitting or placed in whatever place where I can have it in landscape mode. But when I've got the iPad in portrait mode, I do find it helpful because the keyboard is more comfortable to me in portrait mode with it split. I guess I don't have tiny hands, but I don't have really big hands. So in portrait mode, it's a harder stretch for me on the iPad Virtual Keyboard. So with the ability to split it, it's quite nice in that mode.
And it's actually kind of funny that we see this in iOS 5 because the Windows 8 demo that was kind of floating around, what is it, a week and a half ago maybe, had a split keyboard in there. I'm pretty sure they did anyway, and they said
Yeah.
like it's very comfortable, it's very cool, we're very excited about it. But here it is this year, which is nice.
Well, that also reminds me, I posted the other day on just an absolutely brilliant line from MG Sigler at TechCrunch again, about the difference between being first to do something and doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find that post and that line, but I think basically he says nobody gives a shit who did something first. They care about who does it right.
Exactly.
And Apple's very good at doing it right. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind betting that Microsoft may be working on this, but I'm not sure theirs would be as slick and usable.
Actually, I'm an Apple fan myself, but I'd be very open to seeing what Microsoft has there because I've heard very good things about the Windows 7 keyboard, Windows Phone 7 keyboard. It's apparently extremely good. So, if they can bring that to tablets, that'd be awesome.
Okay, fair enough. That may be one where they are strong.
So, final one is, and of course not the final feature of iOS 5, but just one of the ones that we can play with right now and actually have impressions of. iMessages. So it was a little confusing at first on the 3GS because iMessages is now, Messages is now a color-coded app. I think it's green for regular text messages, and then it turns blue for when you're sending an iMessage over data. And you can choose to contact people via their cell phone numbers, their mobile numbers, or their their iTunes IDs or their Apple accounts, basically. The first time I tried to reach you, I'm not sure you had it set up yet. So what I ended up sending you was some sort of MMS from Canada to the US right to your email address. But now that we do have it set up, it's working quite nicely. It's working a lot like WhatsApp or Kick Messenger. You can see read, whether a message has been read, delivered, or sent. Sent and delivered are the same thing, but it's very clean so far.
Yeah, I do like that feature where it shows you when it's delivered and read and all that. I love the little feature where it shows you the ellipsis to indicate that the other person is typing.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice, and it's easy to notice. One feature that I saw mentioned somewhere, I can't remember where, but I don't see it yet on my iPad, is I thought I had read that when you go in the Contacts app, it would show you which people were available for iMessages. In other words, they have an iOS device.
Right.
And I don't see that. I don't see any different indicator next to your contact entry for that. Maybe that's one of the features that's not in this first beta, but will be in the final.
Exactly. I don't see any indicator myself. So,
right.
But it's. I think it's a very interesting idea. I don't think it's going to kill off SMS. I mean, that just seems like a silly idea. SMS is one of its biggest strengths is that it is cross-platform. It talks to feature phones.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the same as with FaceTime. FaceTime, they promised that they were going to make it a very open platform and so on and so forth. And so far, as far as I know, there's zero progress on that.
Exactly.
And so FaceTime is a it's attractive and it's a fun app, but it's nothing compared to Skype because it's not cross-platform, and it'll be exactly the same with iMessages if they don't make it cross-platform.
But I do like that it works on the iPad and the iPod Touch, though. It gives those machines a lot more utility, I think. I mean, and there's so many times that I'd like to continue a conversation, but I don't want to, I'm using my iPad right then, and I don't want to have the iPhone always at my side just to continue something. So that's very welcome.
Right.
The only thing is that with these kinds of messaging systems, you can't go offline. There's no invisible status right now, as far as I know.
That's a disadvantage, definitely. One thing that I've seen that's missing, or at least it's missing from me on the iOS 5 beta, is the multitasking gestures.
Right. Those are apparently because they are. I've read somewhere again. I forget where that they're not available on the iPad 1. I believe that those are only available on the iPad 2. In much the same way that the iPhone 4 got SMS tones last year, extra ones. And it's like, no, you 3GS owners just can't handle these new tones. I'm sorry.
Actually, did you see that this morning that iOS 5 is going to add custom tones, but you have to pay for them?
Exactly. There's
just like
they
did
with ringtones. Yeah.
I saw somebody say it felt like Apple was nickel and diming you, and I think that's exactly right. I mean, you're going to do it it just seems kind of ridiculous to me that on the one hand, you're going to offer iCloud
for free.
This huge, big, 9 different services in it and all that, and it's free. And then you have to pay for custom alert tones. I mean, What the heck?
And I mean, yeah. And then you have the comparison of iTunes Match, which is $25 or a flat rate to just throw up to 25,000 songs into it, basically, and get official iTunes versions of those songs. And yet here you are.
And then it's 99 cents to get a ringtone.
Very likely 99 cents to get a ringtone. Yeah.
It's dumb.
But there we go. So we've had iOS 5 for just a few days really. But it's already really impressive even in beta 1.
I think so too. I mean, I'm finding it's not I have definitely some crashing issues with a number of apps.
Ditto.
On the iPad V1. There are definitely places where it gets a little bit laggy. There are also definitely places where it gets a little almost unresponsive. I mean, it certainly feels like the first beta.
Yes.
But as you say, you can still already see a lot of the nice new things about it. So assuming that the betas are going to, I assume there'll be another beta out within a week or two, and things will get more stable and more fun to use.
All right, Patrick. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
All righty, catch you later, Thomas.
See ya.